Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Commander review from Magic the Gathering, and I am so excited because today we are talking about the Sliver Legion from the Future Sight set. Now, Sliver Legion, like all the other slivers, I have a history of. Sliver Queen was the first one I talked about, and I believe I told the story about how I went and bought it for like $45. I think is what it was way back when I bought it, and now it is a couple $100 last I checked. It's been a while. So I remember when I bought the Sliver Queen from one of my LGSs. Very, very happy about that story. One of my favorite commanders. I talked about the Sliver Overlord, where I had bought the Sliver Precon deck, where I got my favorite D20 spin down from. And I remember loving to play with that. I should have told you this story about buying that Sliver Precon deck. And he was the face card of that, and I got all the cool foil promo slivers in that deck. And then, this sliver holds a special place in my heart because this is the first sliver that I ever got. I got some of the older slivers as well from my cousin, but this is the first Sliver Legendary Sliver Lord that I ever got. And I got this from my cousin when I was first getting into Magic. My dad and I were getting into Magic at around the same time. He was learning it from a coworker and a very good friend of his way back when, and I was learning it from a bunch of my friends way back when, and coincidentally, we were learning this about the same time. And so my dad and I were getting into this game, and we went up to my dad's family for Christmas one year, and that was where I got my very first Precon deck, which was a Rakdos. I believe it was Future Sight was the set. If it wasn't, it was the Time Spiral or something around that era. And I got that Black-Red Discard Madness deck, and we played a bunch, and I was learning a lot about the game. And my cousin introduced me to a bunch of cards from his and his dad's collection. And man, this was a card. I don't remember how I got this card or why he gave it to me, but I got this card from my cousin, and I started playing with slivers, and it was the first 60 card deck. It was the first deck, period. It was the first deck that I ever made myself. It was 5 colored slivers, and it had a bunch of the old sliver cards, and it had this as kind of the headliner, but it was a 60 card deck, and I didn't really know what I was doing back then as a kid, so obviously I didn't win a whole lot, but when I did win, it was very cool, especially when I got to win with this commander, and it was so much fun. It really sparked my love for Magic, was this Christmas, getting this Precon deck and getting this card, and maybe one or two other cards. I remember I had a Herald of Lishrak, and I traded it to the same cousin for like Croson Cloud Thresher or Cloud whatever, the 13/13 one that you have to pay the 2 green mana every upkeep to keep it alive, because I thought that was so cool and giant and awesome. Not realizing that Herald of Lishrak is absolutely an OP, powerful card. But I didn't know what I was doing as a kid. But anyway, he gave me this card as a kid, and I absolutely love Sliver Legion. It is the first Sliver Lord I ever got, and it was the first deck I ever built, period. And I really, really love it. Slivers are my absolute favorite tribe in the world. Of any game I've ever played, of any deck building game I've ever played, this is my favorite, and this is my favorite deck that I've ever made in this game. It's so good. And everyone in my play group absolutely hates this deck. They kill me on the spot all the time because they know how bad this deck can get when it gets rolling. So anyway, with all that said, Sliver Legion is a legendary sliver. It's a power and toughness of 7/7 with a mana value of Wooburg. Mana value of 5, Wooburg. White, blue, black, red, and green. And then it has one static ability. All sliver creatures get +1/+1 for each other sliver on the battlefield. Bear in mind that that does not specify slivers you control, because if you are new to the game, fun fact, old slivers way back when used to affect every sliver, regardless of who controlled them. And it was madness. Absolutely bonkers madness. And this was one of those bonkers cards. Because when I was learning this deck and playing this deck, my cousin who was teaching me about it was playing with his sliver deck, and it got absurd fast. So I learned a lot about how this game works because I learned quickly at a young age the complexities of this game by learning how to play with slivers. It was insane. So essentially, if you have 5 slivers in play, each of them will get +4/+4 because they get +1/+1 for each other sliver in play. So 5 slivers gives you +4/+4. 6 slivers gives you +5/+5. 20 slivers gets you +19/+19. And it gets crazy so fast. And it's not just your slivers, it is everyone's slivers. So I bring that up multiple times because we are in a world of Magic the Gathering, especially with Lorwyn Eclipsed, that we have the changeling creatures, the shapeshifters with the changeling keyword. Those are slivers, so they also get that effect. So if your opponent has changelings in play, be mindful, because not only does that add to your power, but that adds to their power as well. So very, very crazy card. 2 card rulings for this commander. Recent updates back in 2021. First, if Sliver Legion and 2 other slivers are on the battlefield, for example, each of them gets +2/+2. I already went over that with you guys. Second rule, because damage remains marked on a creature until the damage is removed, during like the cleanup step essentially, as the turn ends, non-lethal damage dealt to a sliver may become lethal if another sliver leaves the battlefield during that turn. So you need to kind of keep track. Again, this is a very complex creature type to deal with because everything affects each other. If you have, if we go back to this first example up here in the first rule, 2 other slivers, each of them get +2/+2. If one of those slivers dies, then the static ability is reduced from +2/+2 to +1/+1. And if that causes another sliver's toughness to go to 0, that sliver will die, which will then result in Sliver Legion being by itself, in this example, which it doesn't give itself +1/+1. So, depending on the types of combat situations that you're in, or board wipes that you're dealing with, like Blasphemous Act, you do need to kind of keep in mind that if one sliver dies, it will affect all of your other slivers. Or if one sliver is bounced to your hand, it will affect how the other slivers are with their toughness. So if they have taken damage that turn and then one leaves, that will affect their toughness overall. So like, just bear that in mind. It is a little bit of a math game, and it's very fun. Very, very cool. Card I chose to synergize with this commander. I'm not going to do anything weird or fun or crazy with this or with the deck idea for this commander because I just love slivers. It's what slivers do. So I'm going to talk about slivers because we've gotten upgrades since I've done my Sliver Overlord video. We've gotten the Thrumming Hive Pool, which is an artifact that has affinity for slivers. So if you have 6 slivers in play, you can play this card for free. And it gives slivers you control double strike and haste, which is absurd. I love it. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create 2 1/1 sliver creature tokens that have double strike and haste. And if Sliver Legion's in play, that's 2 extra power and toughness that you're adding every turn. So you're not just making a 1/1 sliver. If you have this and your commander in play, and then your next turn happens, you create 2 1/1 colorless sliver creature tokens with double strike, haste, and +2/+2. Then on your next turn, you create 2 more which have double strike, haste, and +4/+4. On your next turn, +6/+6, +8/+8, +10/+10, so on and so forth. It's absurd. It's a great card, and I'm definitely going to be getting it for my Sliver deck. And then, to continue off of the theme of Slivers, there was a cycle of older instance and sorcery cards that cared about picking a creature type, and we've gotten another one of these cycles in Lorwyn Eclipsed. And the cool thing about these cycle of enchantments, instants, and sorceries is they have Convoke. So your Slivers can be used to reduce the cost of these spells, and then all you have to do is choose a creature type, and then you do something cool with it. You draw a bunch of cards, you deal extra damage, you destroy, or you get to reanimate all of your Slivers from your graveyard. It's such a fantastic, fantastic cycle of cards, especially for Slivers. They love these kind of cards. The Kindred cycle of cards the Slivers love, and now they're going to love the Convoke cycle of creature type matters cards. And that is going to do it for Sliver Legion. Again, Slivers, one of my favorites of all time, if not my ultimate. It's not even a contest. It is my ultimate favorite deck, archetype, tribe, everything about this game. Slivers are my absolute favorite. The only thing that comes close to these guys is the Swords of cycle, and the Swords of has their own deck. So, great commander, lots of different deck ideas you can build with this commander, surprisingly, even though it is a tribal lord. You can build this commander in a lot of different ways. And I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts about Slivers, because a lot of you are going to hate Slivers, and a lot of you are going to love Slivers, and there's really no in-between, and I love that about these guys. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!